And this is a review of my KTM Duke 125. I'll start with just some obvious questions that everyone has asked, especially in Danny WMV's video where he had his bike, his Yamaha R125, and then my bike, and it was kind of a question and answers thing just to show off my bike. Really, that was the main point. So start with the obvious one, top speed. Everyone seems to want to know what the top speed is. Before I've got 77 miles an hour out of it, but that's pushing it. That's on the red line in 6th gear, which is consequently how many gears it has. 6 gears. What else? But yeah, the main point of this bike isn't really supposed to be top speed. It's more of a handling bike, and it does handle so well. Yeah, just mainly, I don't know if it's mainly, but probably the two main things are having these straight bars and also these forks. They're supposed to be enduro forks, but they're pretty stiff anyway. They hardly move at all compared to the conventional forks. Okay, we'll go to the brakes now. I found the brakes at first were really sharp, like deadly sharp, but that may have just been because I was brand new to riding. I'm the first person in my family to own a bike, so I'm very new to this. But the discs now, they seem to have kind of numbed down, and they're a bit softer now, which is good. They brake really well still. Well, I have only done 2,800 something miles, so not a huge amount still. The brake pad is still good. Go to the lights next. The lights, yeah, they're good, fine. This bottom one only comes on when you put the key in, and then this main one is on all the time, but then it brightens up in high beam, so that's fine. Really good in night actually, you can see for miles. The tyres, if you get one, I meant the bike, if you get the bike, just change the tyres immediately, just get rid of them. I've still got the original front on, but that's because I don't have enough money to change it. They're quite expensive, well, not hugely, but still more money than I want to spend. But I've changed the back tyre, but that's only because I had a puncture. Okay, so the tank next. The tank for taller people, I'll show you that later anyway, but this bit here, you probably can't see it there, but how it curves in there, people's knees always seem to hit against here if you're above about 6 foot. I'm smaller, I'm 5'7", 5'8", so I don't hit, so it's fine. The engine's actually a 200, but they restrict it down to a 125. It's just because they do the KTM Duke 200 as well, so you can only have the cell. Edit that bit out. It's the same engine as the 200 Duke. The reason for that is KTM then only have to make one bike, but just restrict the engine of the 125. But which is good because it means once you've passed your full test, you can then de-restrict the engine, making it into a 200, and you still have the same bike, which is what I'm thinking of doing. Not too sure because I don't know what the resale value will be like after. We'll move down to the rear sets. I found that this is quite wobbly. There's quite a lot of play in the actual gear shifter, and also in the foot peg. You see how much, because that's really loose. There's not, I think that is just the spring on the back here is really loose, causing it to wobble around like that. But it's not a huge problem, you don't really notice it when you got your foot on it, but it does rattle around if you rev it with your feet not on the pegs. What next? Seat's a gel seat, really nice, really soft. Suspension, I've had to already get the rear shock replaced. That was after the first probably 300 miles actually, but I didn't get it changed until 600 because the shock was leaking really badly and it was dripping down onto the exhaust when like the top part of the exhaust is just there, and it was steaming and made the bike look like it was breaking, basically blowing up. But that's all been replaced. That was under warranty, so that it wasn't a problem. I think it was 2 days in the garage and it was out again. But luckily it was a half term, so I didn't need the bike. I've kept the rear pegs on just for now, just for the review, just so you can see what it looks like, but normally they come in straight off. Like I said about the rear tyre, ignore the chicken strips. I've had to get the rear tyre replaced once. So this is the new one, Bridgestone 090. It's very good actually, because you don't want what the guy in the shop was saying is a lot of tyres, like if you search tyres in Google for like this bike, you'll get loads of people on forums just shouting out the biggest brand make they can think of and what brand they're loyal to, but it doesn't matter what it is. Well, it does matter what it is, but you need a lightweight tyre, so something that will heat up faster, so a softer tyre that's going to heat up faster, because it's a light bike. I don't weigh much anyway, so you need a soft tyre so it'll heat up quick, and this one does. It's still not hugely soft, but it's got enough grip for all the time wet, and especially in the dry. It's really good in the dry. We'll go around to the other side now. The rear brake, well, I don't really notice the rear brake that much. It doesn't make a huge effect on my riding. I haven't noticed anything bad about it. I haven't noticed anything good about it. It's just there. Yeah, this rear peg as well is a bit loose. I think that's just from wear actually, more than anything. So that's the exhaust, or the actual, yeah, that's the exhaust down there. Very nice. I'm not sure if I like the chrome though. If it was me, I'd prefer kind of this flat silver like that instead of the chrome, because the chrome doesn't go. There's no other chrome on the bike apart from the shock arms, but that has to be chrome, I think. I don't know. Yeah. What else is there? Nothing really. We'll go up to the top. So the tank, I put that on there. I don't know why. Just it looked a bit plain. Rear seat. That's also gel. So I put the L plate up here on the tail instead of on at the bottom of the number plate, because it kept snapping pretty much every week when it was underneath the L plate, underneath the number plate. So I put it there, which I think it looks better, but it's just going to save me a hell of a lot of money. Not a hell of a lot, but it's going to save me just the hassle of trying to spend, or having to spend that money pretty much every week getting a new L plate. So I just put it at the back there. I pulled out in front of police to see if they stopped me, and they haven't. They didn't care, so it doesn't matter. Like Danny said as well, I've but I changed the grips. So now these are softer rubber. These are much nicer on your hands. The originals that come with it are quite a hard rubber. The only way I can describe it is like a Halford's bike. Their grips. Yeah, they're pretty terrible. So what happened is I'd grip it, and as I'd turn, it would slip in my hand like that. But now these ones, you can just keep it planted all the way down, especially with these little notches there. You can kind of grip just with your fingertips. Really nice. So, obviously the brake lever. The wing mirrors are good, fine. Quite big, but who cares? You can take them off, get some bar ends. It will look quite nice. So oil reservoir for the front brake. We'll go around to this side. This is the most eventful side, shall we say. You see here how the clutch lever should look like that, but instead it looks like that. That's because I dropped the bike at college. So embarrassing. I wasn't even thinking when I did it. I was just I'd stopped, it was cold in the morning. So I stopped, got off, and thought I put the stand down, because the stand is in an odd position. I'll show you that now. So lift the bike up. When the stand's there, it's difficult to get your foot, just because there's the peg and it's in an odd place. So I kind of missed it as I was leaning the bike over and slipped and fell, but luckily the bike landed on my foot and I had bike boots on, so I didn't feel it. But that's the only damage it got. I thought I was going to destroy the indicators, which are LED indicators, which are very nice. But no, they were fine. So just my ego was damaged, and the clutch lever, which needed adjusting after, because I obviously stretched that around. Hello. Okay, so the dials, or the dash even, not really dials. I'll get the key. I painted the KTM part on the key, you see it there, like that. That's to match the engine there, see? I like it, looks good. Well, in my opinion it looks good anyway. Okay, so this is what the dials look like. So you've got obviously side stand down, you've got fuel down here, then temperature gauge for the engine. It normally only goes up to about there, it won't go any higher. Your gear, so it's that light. It used to, see it flashes in neutral like that. Recently it had to go back in the garage because it was staying on while I was in neutral, in first gear. I'll try that now actually.